Good day, everyone. Warm greetings. And happy to be here with you today and to share this practice of mindfulness of breathing. In some ways, mindfulness of breathing is maybe a microcosm or a bridge to the fullness of our life. Breathing is at the center, can be seen as at the center of it all, the nexus of it all, crossroads of it all. And if we sit at the crossroads, everything comes by. If we sit at the nexus, everything somehow is related to that. And there's a way of understanding or seeing everything else more clearly. And some of you, I'm sure, will have all kinds of concerns that you bring with you to the meditation today, things that are happening in your life and important things that you're thinking about. And breathing, to really enter into the world of breathing and to have some continuity and concentration on the breathing, helps shape the mind or organize the mind to become more incisive, to become more creative and intelligent and capable of really addressing the issues of our life. And but to do that, it really helps us realize that for now, we're not going to actually pick up the issues of our life. This is not the time. We're preparing ourselves to be in a better place to do it later. And so with that kind of idea, maybe it's easier to put some things aside for these minutes that we're here with the breathing. And that this bridge, microcosm of breathing is multidimensional. There's many aspects of it. There's what I call the horizontal dimension, which is what we did yesterday with the guided tour of the breath, kind of the spread out through the body of what moves and is impacted physically with breathing as we breathe. There's the vertical dimension, which in my vocabulary means that to really go deeply and really experience deeply the particular sensations that come into play in breathing. So to really feel fully a particular expansion or letting go or falling or pressure or release of pressure, smoothness or jaggedness of breathing, to really feel that in some acute or tender, intimate way. I called, kind of the vertical dimension. And then there's the time dimension, which is continuity over time, like really experiencing the breath, an unbroken attention to breathing, unbroken appreciation of breathing. And then there's the mind dimension, the nature of the awareness that's aware of breathing, and the nature of the mind that somehow comes into play with breathing and is somehow nourished or shaped by the breathing, and the mind that shapes the breathing. So there's all these dimensions and all this richness in the breathing. And for today, I would like to do a little bit about maybe the dimension of time and the dimension of kind of the depth of the vertical dimension. And that is to do another guided tour of breathing. But this time, it's a tour of the breathing through time. Through the time it takes to breathe in, through the time it takes to breathe out. So that's not so clear, so that'll become clear as we do the meditation. And it also involves some of this vertical dimension of really kind of feeling the sensations themselves, the uniqueness of the different sensations that come into play as we're breathing. And these exercises we're doing in the morning are all ways of getting you more and more familiar with this world of breathing. Hopefully so a little bit of it sticks and becomes second nature, so that when you do breath meditation, you have this kind of landing place or interest or kind of entryway to a deeper way with your breathing. So to assume your meditation posture and to settle yourself in a little bit into this posture. And to close your eyes. And maybe maybe taking a few long, slow, deep breaths. And the long and the slow, it can be the beginning of feeling the time dimension, the continuity of through time, of just being with one in-breath and one exhale. Deep inhale, long, slow, relaxed, and a long, slow, relaxed release with the exhale. And then to let your breathing return to normal. And take a few more moments to settle in. And one way to do that is to feel the weight of your shoulders. Let the weight, the gentle pull of gravity, support the release of tension and holding in your shoulders. Allowing the shoulders to be heavy. Feel the weight of the elbows, letting them be heavy and somehow released. Maybe you can feel the weight of your rib cage, your ribs. The very maybe subtle, gentle pull of gravity on these bones, your chest. Releasing to the pull of gravity. Maybe you can feel the weight of your belly. If its belly's held tense, tight, how it is a little bit of a holding back from the pull of gravity. The weight of your sitting bones, the weight of your torso on your sitting bones, on your bottom. And feeling the weight of the whole body as a way of grounding yourself in your body. Feeling the substance of the body, whatever solidity there is in your body. And so there's a kind of definitiveness in being here, in this body. And allowing the mind to rest in this body. Mind which is often weary and overactive. Allowing the mind to rest, to relax. Releasing the mind. So we're not holding on to it or driving it. Letting the mind become relaxed, open. Spaciousness of the mind. Spaciousness of awareness. And then become aware of the movements in your body that come with breathing. Maybe the more subtle places in your body that move first. Give yourself a kind of just checking in to various places in your body that move as you breathe. back rib cage, and the sides of your rib cage, in the front, letting go of your thoughts and letting go into the movement of the body breathing. And then for the next 2 or 3 exhales, let go, relax, release with the exhale. Gently, relaxedly, letting your exhale release more fully at the end of the exhale. So there's a little extra exhaling. And follow that exhale to the end. And now to start the tour of the breathing, become aware of the first sensation that indicates you're breathing in. You don't have to strain to do this. What's the first sensation that's obvious to you that the inhale has begun? And what is this sensation? So it's an exercise to be particularly attentive to the beginning of the inhale each time it begins. Noticing what sensation it is. See if you can recognize the nature of the sensation. Is it movement, expansion, pressure? Is it an initial experience of lightness or looseness, release? A lifting? Is it a sensation that happens throughout your body, or is it a particular spot? Small spot, a large spot? Becoming aware of the beginning of an inhale. And now become aware of the middle of your inhale. Between the beginning of the inhale and to the inhale finishes, somewhere in that middle, what is the sensation that shows itself in that middle section? Is it still a movement, a different kind of movement? A different quality of expansion? Or pressure? Or smoothness? Temperature? Vibration? Is the experience of at the middle of inhaling, are the sensations a small little spot or a broad area? And then now become aware of the last sensation in your body that indicates you're breathing in. No need to strain to get the absolute last one. But whatever is the last sensation that's easy to recognize, that indicates you come to the end of the inhale. Is there a stretching, a tautness? Is there a stopping of the expansion? And then to the next few times that you inhale, see if you can ride, awareness can take in the kaleidoscope of sensations from the beginning, the middle, and end. Connecting these together with awareness. So there's a continuity through time of attention with the whole length of the inhale. And now, becoming aware of the first sensation that indicates you're exhaling. What sensation in the body is easy to be aware of, that lets you know the exhale has begun? And as you exhale, what sensation or sensations are most prominent in the middle of the exhale? And then for the next few exhales, become aware of the last sensation of exhaling. The last sensations that come into play, appear, that are easy to know at the end of the breathing out. And then for the next few exhales, see if you can rest attention on the full exhale, feeling the sensations of the beginning, middle, and end, and how they might ripple through or flow through from beginning to end. And then also now notice what the experience is like for you, the physical experience of transitioning from exhaling to inhaling. Is there a pause? Is there a feeling of directionality changing? Is there a change in pressure or tightness? And then in the last minutes of this sitting, 10 minutes or so, we'll sit quietly and see if you can keep your awareness alert and relaxed, resting with the sensations of breathing, but following the stream, the river of sensations that cycle through, and the wheel of breathing in and breathing out. And stay with it continuously from beginning, middle, and end, inhaling, exhaling, the transition between them. See if you can have an unbroken appreciation of the full cycle of breathing. And if the mind wanders off, just gently open again to the breathing, seeing if you can rest or appreciate, take in continuity through time of one full cycle of breathing, and then the next, and the next. And then gently taking a few longer, slower, deeper breaths. And as you exhale, exhale with an inner, maybe silent, ah. So you're settling in, relaxing with the exhale. And then letting your breathing return to normal. And now open your consideration, your thoughts, your heart, to the people of your life. And breathe with them, breathe with thinking about them. Stay connected to your breathing, breathing in as relaxed and open way as you can. Thinking about the people of your lives that you celebrate, you appreciate, you're challenged by, you're in conflict with. All the different ways that you can be with others. Take them all in, but breathe with it all. See if you can let your breathing still have a quality as you exhale of ah. So you're thinking about people, but you're not caught in them. You're still connected to your breathing. As if you're breathing through them or with them, or through and with whatever reactions or ideas you have about them. And then see if you can reach deep inside of yourself to a place that's tender and caring, loving. And continue to breathe mindfully. Breathe through some place of tenderness inside, gentleness and care. And see if you can now extend goodwill towards those people in your life, whether you know them well or just neighbors you hardly know, the people around you. Breathe with them. Breathe with your goodwill. And may it be that this meditation we're doing connects you to an intention, a choice, a decision to be kinder to the world around you, to be more peaceful, more at ease to the world and people around you. May it be that as we go deeper and deeper into the experience of breathing, that it teaches us how we can be relaxed and open and caring for others. May this practice we're doing be for the welfare and happiness of beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings everywhere be free. So we'll continue now with this topic of the Buddha's 16 stages of mindfulness of breathing. And I want to repeat something I said at the beginning of the guided meditation, that to really appreciate the value of how breathing sits at the crossroads of so much of our lives, and such a valuable reference point for understanding so much of our lives. It really helps to really delve deeply into it, or rest deeply in the experience of breathing. And this is why the deeper we go, or the more concentrated we become in this mindfulness of breathing, the more it kind of brings together, processes together, opens up to so many different areas and aspects of our life. Breathing, in a sense, is a microcosm to some understanding the rest of our lives. And there are many dimensions to breathing, to the experience of breathing. And the four that I mentioned is that there is what I call the horizontal dimension, which is the spread of sensations throughout the body that relate to breathing. That as the body moves, as the diaphragm moves and the lungs fill with oxygen, and then let the air out, that there's movements in the body, and to be connected to those movements in the places where there is no movement, where things are held, maybe there's resistance, but to feel the whole impact of breathing in a particular moment, anywhere might experience it. So I call that the vertical dimension. The horizontal dimension is to become aware of the sensations of breathing in the body in a deeper and deeper way, fuller way, really kind of have an intimacy with it, like you're entering into, or really feeling fully each of the particular sensations that come into play. But not because we're straining to do so, but because we become more and more receptive, and it just comes to us and shows itself more and more, the sensation dimensions. And so it's a kind of a sensory awareness exercise. And we're not following the air, the breath itself, even though we might say, use that language. In Vipassana, it's really the sensations of breathing that we're receiving and taking in and experiencing. And then there is the time dimension, where we want to be able to follow the experience of breathing through time, the continuity of attention, the continuity of appreciation, unbroken appreciation of the breath, unbroken by the mind that pulls us away in distraction. And this way of kind of staying with the breath over through time. If you really do it deeply and well, then it's almost like time disappears, even though there's a continuity, we can say, through time. Continuity of the whole in-breath and whole out-breath. If the breathing is fast and kind of rapid, then there's hardly any sensations we feel in that period that we're inhaling and period exhaling. And so we're just aware of whatever there's there. It's not wrong to breathe fast and experience almost no sensations. It's just that's the way it is now, and that we feel it that way. But as we settle in deeper and deeper and get calmer, the tendency is for the breathing then to slow down. And as it slows, there's more time to experience one inhale and one exhale. And when I was younger, sometimes I did the checklist approach to mindfulness of the breathing, that I would just kind of sometimes I use a mental note, rising or falling for breathing in and out. And I would do it at the beginning of the inhale, like it was a duty. And if I say rising, that I'd done my job, and then I wouldn't pay attention to the rest of the inhale, because I checked it off, done that, aware of the inhale. And then I would be aware of the beginning of the exhale, done that, check it off. And then I'd kind of like drift off in thought and hopefully come back soon enough. And what I learned is not to have that checklist approach, not to be content just with a cursory awareness of an in-breath and an out-breath, but really stay with the whole length of the out-breath. And sometimes it's a feeling that I'm staying with it, and sometimes it's more the feeling that it's staying with me, or that I'm just receiving it and letting it come. And having both options to play with is appropriate in different states of mind that we have. Sometimes it's maybe hopeless to stay with the breath unless we stay with it and could direct ourselves to really stay there because the mind is so pulling us away. And other times, staying there with the breath kind of as directed way is a little bit too forceful and a strain, or a little bit too active. And to really relax deeply, it's better to be in receptive mode and to receive it. And so this continuity of attention through time is the time dimension. And then how we use the mind, directed or receptive, spacious or really intimate, close, or just observing it from a distance, the breath, or like, riding the waves of breathing, or really kind of being there at the heart of the sensations of each sensation. These are all ways of being with the mind. And so there's the mind dimension, the awareness dimension that comes into play. And so that's also being worked on and adjusting or finding its way. And some of that's done consciously, and some of it is done kind of, the whole system is adjusting itself as we settle and get concentrated. And it's remarkable to watch the changes over time of in the mind, in the breathing, in the body, as we kind of really enter into this depth and tenderness and intimacy and continuity with breathing over time. And as we feel this, so some of this is all kind of called the breath body, to experience the full experience, all the different aspects of breathing, the continuity through time of the whole in-breath, the whole out-breath, feeling it in different parts of the body, feeling how that comes into play, having a continuity from beginning, middle, and end of the in-breath and out-breath, and maybe throughout the body, or maybe in a particular spot. A spot that I often keep is right around in the belly, sometimes just below the belly button, sometimes a little bit above it. It kind of moves and shifts as I get more concentrated. And sometimes my attention for breathing goes up to my chest, and I stay there. And so my body seems to direct partly where my attention goes. I just follow wherever it seems most predominant or most alive as I'm sitting and meditating. And sometimes I've experienced the whole breath body, the whole beautiful experience of expansion and contraction, like bellows maybe, or like a balloon being blown up and then being released. And so the more that we're familiar with the breath and resting with the breathing, then at some point, what this experience, the third step, breathing in, experiencing the whole body, breathing out and experiencing the whole body, also spills over into parts of your body that are not directly connected to breathing. And partly this is because we're getting the mind, the more the mind gets settled and less distracted, it's like turning on a light bulb in the mind. The light of awareness gets turned on, and it's ready to shine and take in all the different aspects of present moment experience. And one way or the other, over time, people become more and more aware of more of their body. And sometimes if you're a beginner to all this, sometimes it's because the body is uncomfortable, or you start feeling the tensions of the body. And there's a way in which the more subtle we become and the more awareness gets turned on, and we're more sensitive, feeling our whole psychophysical system better, we become more and more aware of the tensions and the holding patterns in the body. And rather than being upset about that, I'd encourage you to feel grateful for that it's much, much, much better to know you have tension than to have tension and not really know it. It's much better to really feel it and be present for it and than it is to ignore it. Even though it's uncomfortable, the art of meditation and the art of breath meditation is learning how to include the whole embodied experience as part of this breath meditation. And so we become more and more embodied as we breathe. And then as practice deepens, the body begins to recede. So there's a period of time where the body becomes very embodied and full, and then the body gets lighter or more, just recedes from the central focus and how it can be at the beginning here. So the first step, the third step of Anapanasati, is one trains oneself breathing in, experiencing the whole breath body. One trains oneself breathing out, one experiences the whole breath body. And so whether it's the guided tour of the breath that we did yesterday and that whole experience of breathing everywhere in the body, or the continuity through time, that breath body that's continuous through time, or it's all these different dimensions. And but whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy it, and or have the idea in the back of your mind that this is not meant to be grim or pushing, and keep in mind that there is no failure with mindfulness of breathing. You can't fail. You can't do it wrong. So don't bother judging it or comparing yourself, because if the worst that can happen maybe is that your mind drifts off a lot and you're going to hardly be with your breathing. But the point is not really to be with your breathing. The point is to be aware of what's really happening here in the present moment. And so if you become much more aware of the power of the mind to wander off in thought, because you're trying to stay with your breathing, then the meditation has succeeded. If you're able to stay with the breath through time, then the meditation has succeeded. So as long as you're aware of what's happening and notice what's happening, then it's a success. And if you drift off in thought and lost in thought, and so lost in thought that you don't even know you're lost in thought, then there's no problem. You're too lost to know. And as soon as you wake up from that and you're aware that you have been lost in thought, there's no problem anymore, because now you're aware. So I like to say there's no problems in meditation. You can't do it wrong in the present moment. If you're in the present moment and judge yourself, I'm doing it wrong, at that moment you have enough wherewithal to simply be aware. Because without that simple awareness, you wouldn't have made that judgment. So that's my little plug to try to enjoy, and don't take it all too seriously, and settle in and become more and more interested in your breath and your breathing. And as I said, I think yesterday and before, you would benefit a lot in your meditation if you make it really a regular thing now through your day, every day, whenever you can, check in with your breathing and do like a 3-minute meditation, or a 3-breath meditation, or sitting at a traffic light meditation on your breathing. Just look for lots of opportunities to come back to your breathing, so that it becomes more and more a habit to do so. And to do that, then all you're learning about mindfulness of breathing and meditation will actually come and benefit your life tremendously. So thank you all very much.